Hello, hello! We are going to talk about using virtual field trips in Spanish class, and specifically we're going to talk about when do you use them, how to use them, what do you look like, what ages you use them with, all sorts of different things, all sorts of frequently asked questions that I get about using virtual field trips in class. We're going to jump right in and I'm going to just knock them out so we are moving efficiently. So the first question I always get about virtual field trips is, when do you use them? When do you use them? I use them a lot. So I like to use virtual field trips if we are doing a unit on a specific country. We'll use a virtual field trip to kick off the unit, or maybe in the middle of the unit if I need something to kind of fluff out the unit a little bit. It's nice to kind of take that, it's almost like a break because they're going to, it's self-paced. They're going to go explore on their own. I also have used them for cultural celebrations and traditions. So maybe we don't have time to do a full week on whatever it is, but we do have time to do a one-day virtual field trip. And the nice thing about them is that when they do the virtual field trip, they get a ton of information and they learn a lot about the holiday. And that way you don't have to worry about falling behind in a very strict pacing guide. I also like to use them for sub-plans. They are a fantastic sub-plan because you can just post the link on your LMS, Google Classroom or Canvas or whatever it is you use. You just post it and the kids are going to work on it on their own. I also like to use them on those weird schedule days. I don't know if you've ever had those days where it's there's an assembly or there's state tournament is happening and 65% of your class is gone, but you're still supposed to teach, but you don't want to move forward because then you're gonna have to reteach it again. Those days, those days are really good for virtual field trips. So those are some of my favorites. I have not done this yet. I was actually just talking to someone, I was oh, this would be really good. And then someone was yeah, I'm doing that. I'm yes, you're brilliant. I think it would be really fun to do as a weekly routine. So I've talked about my weekly routines before where it's weekend chat or special person or Musica Miraculous, those kinds of things. I think a virtual field trip would be a really fun, maybe a Friday routine, that kind of thing where they take a virtual field trip every Friday. But like I said, I haven't done that yet. I just think it would be fun. What ages and levels do you use them with? Friends, I have not taught elementary. This is probably the most commonly asked question I get is it good for fourth grade? I don't know why fourth grade is almost always the answer or the question. I have never taught fourth grade, so I can't tell you specifically or not. What I would say is I have a free one. Why wouldn't you download it and just check it out and see, your students better than I do? They're yours. So grab the free one, check it out. If it's going to be good for your students, you'll know right away, when you're looking at it, oh, yep, this is perfect. My kids will love this. Or probably not going to be a good fit. So if you're not sure if it's good for your elementary students or not, grab the free one. Let me know if you need a copy. It's linked in my bio, but I would also just send it to you if you need it. Just send me a message. And then you can just see and know. I have used them with 6th through 12th grade students. So I know, yes, they're great for those ages. I've tried it. They love it. I have also used it for a culture class. So we're in English, but we're learning about cultures. They're really good for that. I've used it with novices. I've used it with medium levels is not the right word. But you get what I'm saying. So I've used them for a little bit upper. I've never tried them with elementary. I know some people have and really enjoyed it, but I don't like to talk about things that are my own experience. So if you're looking for an elementary focused virtual field trip, let me know if you want one to try, and then you can know if it's good or bad for your students. Okay. What do you need to take a virtual field trip? So the way that I set mine up, your students, I recommend that they have headphones or earbuds because there are videos embedded. And so personally, I find it really overstimulating if all of my students are listening to videos at different points at different volumes. So headphones, please. A student device, access to YouTube, right? Some schools block YouTube. They need YouTube because that's where the videos are coming from. And then access to Google My Maps. Those are the 4 things that you need. If your school blocks Google My Maps, give your tech person a little jingle and say, hey. And sometimes they open it right up for you and sometimes they say no for whatever reason. So just check. And again, if you're I'm not sure if this works or not, I'll send you the free one. You can just download and see if you will have access to Google My Maps. You'll know right away because the school will tell you if you do or don't. Okay? How long do they take? I personally use them with 2 exceptions. I usually use them for 45 to 50 minute class periods. Okay, so one day, 45 to 50 minutes. The 2 exceptions are I have 2 projects where it's a create your own virtual field trip that the students do. That takes them longer. as you might expect, because instead of exploring, they're putting in the information. And then we usually do some like rotatey, tradey, explore each other's projects thing afterwards. So that takes a little while longer, but there's only 2 of those. For the most part, 45 to 50 minutes is perfect. Which country or countries are included? This depends on which virtual field trip you're taking. So I have a whole bunch of virtual field trips. I actually have 22 virtual field trips for a specific country, okay? So virtual field trips are awesome to like explore one country in depth. And in that case, I would say the country that's included is whatever country the virtual field trip is on. However, I do have virtual field trips that are meant to explore culture and cultural celebrations. And so, for example, I have one that's about food. Well, I think there's like 18 to 20 some countries included on that map. I don't know off the top of my head, because the point is to explore a variety, right? So in that case, there's a bunch of different countries included. Like my Navidad and holiday traditions map, like I would use that usually around this time of year. There's like 14 or 15 countries included in that, because again, it's all about exploring a bunch of different traditions all in one. Quick question says, do you like virtual field trips for sub-plans? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. Yes. Okay, the next question I had are language or languages. Which languages do you do them in? I have all of my virtual field trips are in Spanish, English, or Spanish and English. So these are all options for you. You could get just English or just Spanish, or you could get one that's Spanish and English. I personally like to mix and match the 2 languages because I think it's easier to like be more flexible for my students' levels, right? So as they're like, if they're like baby Spanish kiddos, like right away at the beginning of the year, I might do English. But once we progress a little bit into class, I'll do the virtual field trip, the map in Spanish, and I'll give them the comprehension activities in English. And then I'll start to kind of mix and match. So maybe later on again, they'll do Spanish. That really just depends on your students and their levels. I personally like to be able to mix and match them. But maybe you're teaching a culture class and you're like, my students don't speak Spanish. We're not learning Spanish. Just get the English one. That's why it's available separately. Or maybe you're like, my students don't need the English because, you're AP Spanish or whatever it is. Then just grab the Spanish one. That's why I have them separately, because the English and the Spanish are a little bit cheaper when they're on their own. And if you want to grab both of them, they're available at a discount. So it's not as much as if you were buying them both separately. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So Spanish and English, or Spanish and English. I don't have any in French or any other languages. Sorry, French teachers, or German teachers, or Latin teachers, any other teachers other than Spanish or English. Anyways. Okay, the last one I have for you is, I get comments that are like, I want to try one, but I just don't know where to get started. I know where you can get started. It is at the link in my bio. So up here, if you tap up here, it'll take you to my page. And then in the description, there's a little link for you. If you click on that, I have a free virtual field trip for you to try. So if you're like, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit for me, or maybe you just want to grab it and throw it in your emergency sub-plan binder for, it's cold and flu season. Maybe you're going to wake up feeling yucky, or maybe a kiddo in your household is going to wake up feeling yucky. It happens. If you want to grab my free one, you could use that as emergency sub-plan. You could use it to just try it out on any of those other situations that I described, like weird assembly days or state tournament days or like all that sort of stuff. If you want one to try and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about with your link in your bio, I can't find it, shoot me a message, drop me a comment, let me know. I will share the link to you and you can just try it out and see. But like I said, I have over 60 virtual field trips. So chances are pretty high if you want to try one out, I might have one in the topic that you want. I have 3 on my to-do list in my brain, but there's quite a wide variety for you. Okay, those are all the frequently asked questions that I have to cover with you. If you have a different question about virtual field trips that I did not cover, feel free to drop me a comment or send me a message or send me an email. I am happy to help you out. If you have any other questions about, a different resource or, not virtual field trips, something else, again, drop me a comment, leave me a question. I'm here to help you. Last thing, because I almost forgot. I don't know how I forgot. The cyber sale that TPT is throwing is ending today. If you check out, if you have something in your cart and you're going to check out, don't forget to use the code CYBER22 because that's what gives you the extra discount on top of everything else. I always forget. And then I'm like, oh. So don't forget to use the code. It's the extra discount on top. All right. Oh, and if you're on my email list, yesterday I sent out an email for you with a chance for you to win a $10 gift card to TPT. I will be drawing the winner for that at 6 p.m. tonight. So if you haven't entered yet, you still have like 4 hours. Okay? Bye.